This day has been utterly insane, beyond stressful. Both Kyle and I feel like we are near a mental breakdown and feeling like we can finally maybe breathe after the most chaotic afternoon. We checked out of our Airbnb that we were planning to only stay there this trip and that we would be leaving to go home today. But per the plastic surgeon's suggestions during Kyle's preoperative consult, he was like, I really think you should stay a few extra days. And so we decided to extend our stay, and the Airbnb we were at wasn't available to book longer, so we had to move Airbnbs. So this morning we packed everything up, and then Kyle had his post-operative consult with the plastic surgeon, which everything went incredible. He was like, this looks as good as it should be, and he is healing as they would have hoped and they would most ideal like, and everything looks great. Then he had a CT scan to get post-operative imaging of how the gamma tiles are laying in the cavity in his brain and make sure everything looks okay. And then we go to our Airbnb and we're like, okay, great, we're gonna finally be able to just like decompress. We got some lunch for takeout, and we get there to eat our lunch, and we get in there and we just like take a walk around, and we go in the bathroom and it immediately smells like toxic mold. And we're looking around and I can see visibly toxic mold along the back edge of the bathroom sink. And my heart sinks, my rage kicks in, and I'm just like so irritated. Like, this cannot be happening, and we are not staying in a place that has toxic mold when Kyle is recovering. And even if he wasn't, it is not safe for anyone to be in that environment. So I contact the host, and they are like, we can have the cleaners come and look at it. And we're like, that's not really a solution, because you can't clean that up in like 15 minutes. That's unfortunately not how cleaning toxic mold works. And so we contacted Airbnb's like safety hotline, and they were able to get us a full refund, cancel our booking, and then we had to figure out where to go. And we were both just feeling like we just want to be home. We both have just been feeling that, like, we just want to be home. Like, this is such a long time away from our home and in this place of healing. We like just want to be in our comfort space, and especially now that we don't have people that make us also feel safe. They've all left and it's just him and I. There's no support here. Like, we just want to be back in our home. And we were like, okay, maybe we can change our flight to tomorrow. And unfortunately we can't, but we were able to change it to be a day earlier than we had planned. And so we were able to get another Airbnb. We got here, and thankfully it does not smell of any toxic smells. There's no fragrances, there's no mold, and like, we can hopefully sleep tonight. Tomorrow Kyle will get an IV, but it was just like the most stressful like couple hours of being like told that this wasn't a big deal and knowing that it absolutely was a big deal, and it just being so stressful and like this thing that we didn't want to or need to deal with, especially Kyle only being 6 days out from surgery. And it was just like, make it stop. This trip has honestly gone so smoothly, and so I guess we were bound to have some sort of hiccup, but man, what a stressful day. Tomorrow will be a new day, and right now is a new moment. This might be the day from you know where, because we finally landed in our new smell-free, mold-free Airbnb. And then I noticed that Kyle's speech was just struggling more than it has been. And then I noticed that his right side of his mouth was drooping down. And so I called the nurse hotline, and they were like, you need to go to the emergency room. So here we are. They got him in super fast because they put him on stroke alert. He's not having a stroke, thankfully. We're waiting to hear what they want to do next. They did the CT scan, and they're going to review that, and then we'll have updates. What a day. What a day. Has it been a good day?
Yes, it has been a good day.
Really?
Yes.
It was a stressful day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just wanted to bake potatoes. Good morning from the hospital. See you never, tiny room.
Yeah.
So nothing is wrong. The problem is Kyle has a slight droop, which might just be his new normal. And that is absolutely okay. Everything came back normal. Everything is only improving. So we're going home after one more unexpected night in the hospital. We're going home. Tomorrow we go home. The last 24 hours were chaotic, to say the least. Beyond chaotic. We are finally home after spending an unexpected night in the hospital. We were nervous about sleeping in Airbnb with mold. So we got this Airbnb and we got here. No mold smells, nothing. And we were so grateful. And then Kyle was going to make some food, and he's just like, his voice and his speech was kind of changed from earlier in the day, and I know that it comes in waves, but they also really prepared me to look out for signs of a stroke. And I noticed that the right side of his mouth was kind of drooping. And so I called the nurse hotline. They're like, no, you have to go. We get to the emergency room and they set out a stroke alert. So he's like taken back super fast to get a CT. And then they pretty much rule out that he's having a stroke. But the surgeon and his team were not on call. Like, no one from his team was on call that had been on Kyle's case. So they didn't want to make the call on behalf of the surgeon. So they had to keep him overnight for observation. And then he got an MRI at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And they just told us everything looks exactly how it is supposed to. And what that drooping likely is just the one small symptom that Kyle is having from having this tumor removed. And like, that's absolutely remarkable. It's honestly not incredibly noticeable. It was a lot more pronounced yesterday, and I think that maybe the stress and the fatigue that brought of yesterday made that a little more noticeable for me. But it was like quite the whirlwind. And we were all nervous about the mold, and we're in there, and I'm going to the bathroom of the private room in the hospital, and I smell mold. And I look, and there's visible mold. And the more potent the smell of like rot or soil or that kind of smell in relationship to mold usually indicates that it is toxic black mold. And usually when you see it visibly, that's like just the tip of the iceberg. So we requested it to be moved to another room, and it was just so stressful because we shut the door and we could still smell the smell, and it was what we smelled at the Airbnb that we got out of. And so it's just like we couldn't escape it, is what it felt like. But we're home. We leave in like 24 hours to get back to our home, and I cannot explain to you the joy. Someone's watching me. I cannot explain to you the joy and the excitement and the anticipation of being back home. It is going to feel so good to just like breathe some cooler, crisp mountain air and just like be in our home. Especially over the last 24 hours, it was just so chaotic. Like, I felt like this whole vacation, is what I'm gonna call it, I've really like held it together, and I felt like I've handled it to so much grace and just ease. And honestly, I haven't had much anxiety or stress, but yesterday I really tested my limits, and I just like, I need a vacation now, like a real vacation. I want to go swim in the ocean and not have any responsibilities, because it's just like, and I know that this isn't ending. We're getting back home, and like Kyle's still healing, and that journey still continues. But man, literally chaos ensued. But everything is okay. Everything is okay. Kyle is remarkable. His surgeon is remarkable. And the crazy thing, the nurse practitioner who was in Kyle's surgery was the one that came and gave him the clearance to be able to go home from the neurosurgical team. And she was telling us that she had spoken with Dr. Smith in regards to Kyle's case. And Kyle's case was, I believe, the 330th case of someone coming to see him who have been told countless times that their tumors were inoperable, and he's been able to remove them. 330 cases. Literally a miracle worker, and I just count our lucky stars and all of the things that have transpired to make this possible, because a literal gift he is. This whole experience, other than yesterday, has been nothing but pleasant, and we're going home. We're going home. Next time I see you, I'll be back home in the mountains, breathing a little lighter.